Hey, Max here, and I got a hot topic to talk to you Star Wars fans and George Lucas fans, because that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. A lot of viewers have been wanting me to cover this, and I wanted to talk to you movie and Star Wars fans about this too. What does George actually think of 7, 8, and 9? We're not gonna stray away from any controversial subject in this series, hot topic. So we're gonna talk about it all, including the white slaver comments. Is it fair to compare Disney to slavers? So we're gonna talk about that in this episode. But I need to get to the disclaimer first. Warning! This video contains rumors, speculation, strong opinions, and a Mad Max. And I am mad because Star Wars shouldn't be this way, and I don't think George likes it either. I think he has to be silenced because he's also a Disney stockholder, and Disney is not going to have it. Disney is connected. They have lots of things they could do. It's not going to be... George can't say too much about it. That's all there is to it. Just like Mark Hamill is shackled by Disney. We get some glimpses of how it really is, and I really think when you hear something, when Mark or George says something, and then they immediately have to do damage control, go with their first opinion. That's what they really think. That's what I think. But let's get to the picture, and let's get all in on this topic. George Lucas, episode 9, 8, and 7. What does he really think? Now, let's revisit the famous Charlie Rose interview. White slavers. Now, that's a hot topic, especially in 2018 when the internet loves to comment on SJW issues. Now, before I get started, I do want to say that real slavery is no comparison to what fans are experiencing. But when you talk about entertainment corporations, the analogy fits. I think Disney are slavers of entertainment properties. Now that we have almost 4 Disney Star Wars films under Kathleen Kennedy, let's go back and see if George was right. And I think he was. And Disney is even more so now slavers of entertainment, whipping the property until it dies. And then, if it fails, they'll blame the audience. Oh, the audience was sick of it. And then they may vault the property. And charging a premium for everything. So, in my opinion, they are absolutely slavers of entertainment content. And they have been... And they have more slaves. They have the fans. Because you are into entertainment, your childhood properties, they probably own something you want. And they will never let it go. If something fails, they're not going to let it go. They'll just vault it. Because they want to own everything in entertainment. Star Wars is a mess. And those Disney defenders, Last Jedi defenders that say, don't watch it, don't be toxic, you're such a fanboy. It's not good enough just to not watch it, because Disney doesn't want to stop. And this may surprise you viewers out there. I like Disney. But when it's Disney being Disney, I think this whole situation has actually diluted Disney as a brand. And the greed that we have all witnessed these past 2 years is disgusting. So that's why I cannot be quiet. George got a lot of flack for that interview, but it is accurate. And before you say I or George is racist for using slavery as an analogy, let's really examine how Disney is treating Star Wars. And this goes without saying, but I will say it anyway. I am not saying entertainment slavery is anywhere near as bad or actual slavery. But it is really worth looking back at his comments. Here is the most famous quotes from that interview and see if it holds true today. And does George hate the sequel trilogy? I do, and I think he does too. I think you fans do. After comparing his decision to sell his company, Lucasfilm, to Disney for $4 billion in 2012, he compared it to a bad breakup or divorce. He said of Abrams' film, Disney wanted to do a retro movie. I don't like that. Every movie I worked very hard to make completely different, with different planets, with different spaceships, to make it new. And that is a lot of what we're missing. Besides all the problems otherwise with story, we're missing new content. It's rehashes, and they're just making plot twists for plot twist's sake with nothing to say. It's boring. There's no wow or interesting set pieces. He also mentioned that Disney was not keen to have him involved on the movie, saying the producers wanted to make something for the fans and do their own thing. I said if I get in there, I'm just going to cause trouble because they're not going to do what I want them to do. And I don't have the control to do that anymore. And all I'm going to do is muck everything up. So I said, okay, I will be on my way and let them go their own way. Now, I don't think he was being 100% honest there. I think he totally wanted to be involved. And they said, go on your own way. We bought it. You're not involved anymore, George. I think he's a smart guy, but I think he was a little bit naive to think that Disney's going to pony up $4 billion and then let him be involved. I think they should have. I think they should have respected him enough and kept him involved. I don't think he should have had a lot of complete control, but he should have been an advisor, and he should be helping in the stories. What disrespect! So they basically bought it with no respect to anybody. The fans, the creator, nothing. And if you want to treat a property with respect, you consider all aspects of the property you're buying. But no, they're just whipping it out, making Star Wars all the time, all the new announcements with movies, Rian Johnson trilogy, if it ever will happen, D.B. Weiss, David Benioff, Jon Favreau, all these things. Does it apply now? Because they're going full force with new Star Wars, and the fan base is so divided and it's so uncertain, and they're announcing all this junk. So I think he was really, I think this may even surprise him, honestly. It surprises me how much they're doing right now. It's out of control. Okay, and then Lucas also issued a statement to clarify some of his remarks, and this was with the damage control after that interview. One very inappropriate comment, as he put it, analogy in which he compared the Star Wars movies to his kids and Disney to white slavers. He sold Star Wars to entertainment slavers. Yes, I think so. I have a question to you viewers. With Star Wars in the state it is, and all the announcements of endless Star Wars movies, was George right about selling Star Wars into slavery? Do you consider Disney as slavers of entertainment content and just constant rehashes, sequels, constant projects until they run it into the ground, and then they'll just be done with it? They're not going to release the property. They're going to keep it. So, do you think it's accurate? And you know what? I appreciate all comments. If you disagree with me, go right ahead. I'll try to reply to your comment. Comment below. You know what people really think of things? Take their original comments and not the damage control afterwards. Not every time, but people usually say what they mean. There was a lot. That was the most genuine part of the interview to me. It got him in the most trouble, but that was the most genuine part of the interview to me. And I think that's why he's afraid to go too too far on comments now. That's why his comments are so bland and generic now when he talks. Besides not liking the new trilogy, I think that's why they're so bland and generic, his reactions to the new Star Wars films. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the comments he said about the Star Wars releases so far. Gareth Edwards comments on George Lucas's reactions. Oh, let's get to Force Awakens first. Force Awakens, George Lucas quote. I think the fans are going to love it. It's very much the kind of movie they've been looking for. George, he tried things. He doesn't succeed all the time, but he tries to give you new content. Disney Star Wars is just going to rehash what they've already done. The Force Awakens was definitely a rehash. Just went beat for beat of A New Hope. So it was definitely retro. That's why it made all that money. And then when they're not doing retro, and they still were doing retro in Last Jedi, but they failed. And they try to do something different and they fail. So I don't think he very much liked The Force Awakens. And it's because it's not new and exciting. It doesn't have wow moments. So 2 days ago, oh, this is Gareth Edwards commenting. So 2 days ago, we got to show George the movie, and we all had a phone call, and I got to speak with him yesterday. I don't want to put words into his mouth, but I can honestly say that I can die happy now. He really liked the movie, so it means a lot. To be honest, and no offense to anyone here, it was the most important review to me. Now, I like Gareth Edwards. I think he was the most successful out of the three we've had released so far. And I think he did fan service in that with the Vader scene, the pilots that he went back and mined footage from Lucasfilm. He really embraced it. And I can't, now we don't know for sure, and this is coming from Gareth, so who knows? But I think George actually liked this movie because I feel I'm a real Star Wars fan, and if you have problems with Rogue One, I understand. But it tried to do fan service. It tried to stay true to the original trilogy, and I don't think it took anything away from A New Hope. Even if you do not like it, you don't have to watch it, and it doesn't damage the brand. Whereas the sequel trilogy does. So, I believe him there. And now The Last Jedi, the most generic, bland response he's ever given to the Disney Star Wars movies. The Last Jedi. George Lucas thinks The Last Jedi was beautifully made. That's all he had to say about The Last Jedi. And that's the only positive I could say. The storyline stinks, the characters stink, but there's some great scenery and some interesting ideas. Rian is not a good writer, and he put his own ambitions ahead of story and of fans and the property. That's my honest opinion. He put himself above everyone else, trying to make a name for himself with all the plot twists, like he's a new age M. Night Shyamalan, a hipster with his little camera and his stupid socks, taking pictures everywhere. I know, you know what? Stereotypes suck, but sometimes they fit. And he's a stereotype of a hipster doofus, okay? He does all this stuff. Every time he gets up off of an interview to take pictures, Mark looks like he's going to rage at him. And I want to too. You know what? Why do you want to take pictures of Mark Hamill when you wanted to kill him off in the movie? You know what? Notice Mark Hamill doesn't smell at all when he's taking those pictures. I want to smash his camera on the stage where he's at. I don't want to physically harm him because I don't believe in violence on people, but I want to destroy his stupid camera and his dumb, idiotic, annoying socks. This new age hipster. Sorry, I went on a little rant there. In a rant. Okay. Okay, now let's get to how he reacts to finally the sequel trilogy. Because I think the few quotes where were not very enthusiastic, and The Last Jedi was the worst. I honestly here, I lost track where I was going. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I watched the full Charlie Rose interview, and there's something else that I want to share that a lot of people do not talk about that was just as telling in the interview. He was talking about a competition between other directors, and specifically Steven Spielberg. And this, to me, sums up one of the biggest problems with the movies. He said they would have a friendly competition in their movies and try to wow each other, using amazing action sequences or moments that wow the audience. If A New Hope did not have a wow moment, would we ever have gotten a sequel? The Death Star trench run. Wow! Remember the first time you saw it on the big screen? Hoth with Luke taking down the walkers. Wow! That's exciting. That's what makes toyetic, the old Kenner action figures. That's what makes you want to buy toys, is those wow moments. Disney Star Wars doesn't have any of it. And I could go on, and the prequels have it too. They have those wow moments. Now, maybe the story surrounding the wow moments and the acting in the prequels you're not a fan of, but it still has the wow moments. And the only wow moment that I have experienced in Disney Star Wars is the Vader scene towards the end of Rogue One. Wow, that was awesome. These are hollow, superficial, retro, like The Last Jedi, copying everything, or worse, Last Jedi, the anti-wow movie. That's what I call The Last Jedi. The anti-wow Star Wars movie. The only wow I experienced in this one is, wow, this stinks. What happened to Star Wars? Because I enjoyed the last Force Awakens for what it was, but I wanted it, if we had to get such a retro rehash, I wanted to expand and take these new characters and embrace the old ones and have a great story. But wow, we didn't get any of that. So I cannot believe they did not develop any of the story arcs. And wow, if you didn't want to do the hard work and write great follow-up storylines, then why couldn't you leave them untouched for further development episode 9? But no, Ruin, you had to kill it all. You killed everything. So I think George can't stand them. My theory also is that he thought having an insider in Disney, Kathleen Kennedy, was going to help him, the sequel trilogy, get made the way he wanted to. Notice he did not sell until he had everyone's contract signed, an outline of what he wanted it to be. He got the ball rolling. I think he thought that they would have filmed his vision and had him as a consultant, and everything would have been rosy. But Kathy, the opportunist, trashed his outline and shut him out immediately. And that's where I think, you probably agree, we get the George Charlie Rose interview. If George wanted it this way, he would have sold Star Wars years ago. He did the best he could. He got everything set up for a smooth transition. And Star Wars only wows fans right now about how bad it is. Wow, Star Wars is bad. Okay, I got some more pictures here. Here's the infamous interview. Infamous now, too, because Charlie Rose, where's he at now? I love this picture. This is how I feel about the new Star Wars movies. Well, George Lucas isn't really that expressive, but in this picture he is. And maybe he's watching the Space Leia Poppins, y'all, or Luke and Kylo in a tent, which is creepy enough as it is. An uncle approaching his nephew while sleeping, his back turned. That's creepy enough as it is, and then he's going to kill him. With all the OG characters done, I don't think George cares anymore, and I don't either. For episode 9. What are they going to do? What a mess. All right, now, I appreciate all your comments. This one ran a little bit long, and I'm working on other stuff too. So unfortunately, I could not get to the viewer comment in this one, but it definitely will be in the next episode, because as soon as I'm done hitting recording, I'm going to go straight into work on the next one, and I got a hot topic coming up soon. But this is where I want to say, you don't have to follow me anywhere. Just join in the conversation. Patreon stinks. Okay? And I'm not a fan either of the movie talk cam girls. That's a new trend in movie news. I'm sick of it. I don't work for tips. Go fund yourself. Just comment and join in the conversation. Have a nice one, guys.